Hello and welcome to today's class. This is the first class in the course Data Analysis in Excel. We'll jump right in and we'll start with basic formulas. We're dealing with formulas, how to write formulas, how to manipulate formulas, and how to edit formulas to achieve what we want to achieve. Okay, so the first thing you must note is that all formulas start with the equal sign. So, what does that mean? If I just type on this cell 2 plus 3 and I press enter, nothing happens because Excel just assumes that I'm putting in text 2 plus 3, nothing happens. But once I say equals 2 plus 3, now Excel calculates and you can see that a 5 is returned. By the way, you can see that the 5 is right aligned while this 2 plus 3 is left aligned. This is because this is treated as text. 2 plus 3 is not a number and Excel treats all text. Excel left aligns all text while numbers are always to the right. Okay, so now normal mathematical operations can be done in Excel, and here are the keystrokes for them: addition, subtraction, multiplication, that's shift 8 or the asterisk symbol, division, that's the forward slash, then exponent is your caret symbol, which is shift 6. Now it's important for you to know that formulas can be nested using BODMAS, bracket, order, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. What this means is that just like in maths, Excel will first do what's in the bracket, then it will do whatever, it would either divide or multiply before it adds or subtracts. So let's take an example. Let's say I want to do 2 plus 3, then times 4. Okay, of course, you can see that I didn't put an equals to sign here, so nothing happens, right? But if I start typing equal to, now it's a formula. So if I type 2 plus 3 times 4, you might expect that 2 plus 3 will give you 5. 5 times 4 gives you 20, so you might expect to see a value of 20 here. However, if I press enter, I can see that the value is 14 instead of 20 that I was expecting. Why is that? If you go into the formula and apply BODMAS, you will see that multiplication comes before addition. So this 3 times 4 is done first to get 12, then 2 is added to get 14. And you can see that clearly if you go to the formula tab. Under the formula tab, there's a button called evaluate formula. If you select evaluate formula, you will see that, you see how it works. You can see that 3 times 4 is underlined. When you press evaluate, so that is evaluated first, then 2 is added to get 14. So what if I wanted to force the 2 plus 3 to be added? I have to put this 2 plus 3 in brackets, right? So now that I put it in brackets, what this is saying is that Excel, please add 2 and 3 together. Then whatever you get, multiply the result by 4. So once I press enter, it gives me 20, which is what I would expect. So we'll see other examples of how nesting can be used to make some very, very lovely and short formulas, right? Let's look at this example. There's somebody called Lekon who owns a bakery, makes bread, and here's data concerning Lekon's bakery. From January to June, these are the quantities he has been selling. In January, he sold 61 kilos of bread. Um, yeah, February he sold 15. March he sold 69, and so on and so forth. Here are the unit prices. As you can see, as the quantity increases, the unit price is increasing. Same with the unit cost from 80 to 90 to 100, and unit transport. So we want to calculate his total revenue, his product cost, his transport, and also calculate his profit month on month. And we're going to be using some of these simple formulas that we know. Well, from elementary economics and accounting, we know that the revenue is going to be quantity times unit price. So I can say equals quantity times, which is shift 8, the unit price, and I press enter. Now a simple hack is, you notice that after typing the formula and pressing enter, my cursor, my selection moved down. If I want to type in a formula, right, evaluate the formula and still remain on that cell, I'm going to press Control Enter. So now I'm holding Control down and I'm pressing Enter. You'll notice that the formula was evaluated, but the selection is still on that cell. So it makes it easy for me to just click on the autofill and drag it down, and I can see that all the numbers have been populated. So for product cost, I can do the same thing. Quantity times unit cost to give you the product cost. So equals the quantity multiplied by the unit cost, and that gives me the product cost. I can click and drag. and I'll copy that formula down. If I come here, I can see that it's picking this quantity times this unit cost. Same with profit, the transport. Now another hack, right, in Excel is if I don't want to type in the formula and have to drag down, I can pre-select my range. So I'm selecting this entire range, I've pre-selected it. Then in this range, the highlighted cell is called the active cell. So if I press enter, you notice that the active cell is moving, right? The active cell is moving. The active cell is moving within that range. Now, if I type anything, let's just say I type dial, right? And I press Control Enter. Watch this. If I hold Control and I press Enter, that which I've typed into the active cell will be copied into all the cells. So I can press delete. My active cell is here, and I can start type my formula equals transport. I'm taking the quantity, I'm multiplying by unit transport. Now this is the formula I want, but I want the formula to be copied down. And because I've selected my range, I pre-selected the range. Once I press Control and Enter, the formula goes all the way down. If I come to the end and double click, I can see this is the correct cells I'm picking, right? So now to calculate the profit, how do I calculate the profit? Well, the profit can just be gotten by taking the revenue and subtracting the product cost and the transport cost, right? So I can say my profit is going to be equal to revenue minus product cost and minus the transport. And this gives me the profit in January. And I can just click and drag. And if I double click here, I see that I'm picking the right revenue, I'm subtracting the two things, and that gives me the right profit. Now, another way of calculating the profit is to calculate the unit profit and then multiply it by the quantity. So, but unit means if I sell just one. So if I sell just one loaf of bread, I'm going to sell it at the price of 120. It's going to cost me 80 naira, and I'm going to spend 5 naira on transport for that one loaf. That means on one loaf, I'm spending a total of 85 naira. So if I take this 85 naira and I subtract it from 120, on one loaf, I can get my unit profit. So if I take that unit profit number and then multiply it by the quantity, I should be able to get my total profit. So what am I saying? I'm saying I'm going to start with my equal to. Equal to what? The unit price minus the unit cost, then also minus the unit transport. So I'm taking the unit price for one loaf, I'm subtracting the unit cost, I'm also subtracting the unit transport. Now, if I press enter here, this gives me 35, right? That is, if I sell one loaf of bread in January, I'm getting a profit of 35. But in January, I sold 61 loaves. So I can come here. Now, here is where we need to remember BODMAS. If I just say this value here and I say multiplied by the quantity, we can see here that multiplication will be done before subtraction. So Excel will first calculate this before it then does subtraction. So if I press Ctrl Enter, you can see I'm having a negative number. Let me go to the formulas and evaluate formula just so I can verify. So Excel will calculate C16, evaluate it to 120, which is this value here, right? D16 is 80, which is this value here. It subtracts to get 40. Then it takes E16, which is the unit transport, and multiplies it by the quantity, because that calculation of multiplication has to be done first before subtracting, right? And that gives you 305, which then gives you the negative number, which is not what we want. So if I go back into the formula, I can press F2. I'm going to press F2 to go back into the formula F2, right? So what I want to do is I want to force Excel to first subtract these numbers before multiplying. So to do that, I have to wrap these numbers in brackets or in parentheses. So what this is saying is, Excel, take this unit price, subtract this cost, subtract this transport, then whatever you get, multiply that by the quantity. So now if I press Control Enter, I get the right value I want to see. If I go to formulas and evaluate formula just to verify, I can see it evaluates the 120, it evaluates 80, it evaluates that to be 40, then it takes the 5, subtracts from 40 to get 35, which, remember, we said that was our unit profit. And it takes 35 and multiplies it by 61 to get the correct profit number. So now I can just click and drag. So now we have some other formulas, very simple formulas and functions, right? But we'll get to functions sometime later. But for now, we just know that there is a simple function called the sum function. The sum function. What this does, it adds numbers together to give you a final answer. So here I have my January quantity, February quantity, and so on and so forth. I want to get a total, so I can just type equals SUM. Once I start typing a formula, a function, all the similar functions with similar names will be shown. I can just select. Once I see that the function is selected, I can press tab, right? Then some function needs this range. I select the range, close my bracket, and press Ctrl Enter. So this total here is 284. And now I can either do the same thing here and click and drag, or like I said, I can select everything beforehand and then type equals SUM. I see my sum, I press tab, I select this range. So what I want Excel to do is I want Excel to put this formula into this range, then this cell, then this cell, this cell, this cell, and add up everything like that. So once I press Control Enter, I can see that the formula has been copied all the way through. If I double click here, it's copying this, it's adding up everything here. And like I can see, I get the same profit. Now for unit averages, that is, I'm taking my total revenue and I'm dividing it by total quantity across this time period. So if I just take my total revenue and I divide it by total quantity, that gives me this value here. That is, so my unit price basically, right? Instead of me taking an average of these prices to get 142, I can see that the average weighted price is going to be 144 because I'm multiplying the quantity. I'm weighing the price based on the quantity basically to get this weighted price. I can do the same thing for product. Take the total product cost divided by total quantity. So that means across my range, my average unit cost is about 89 naira instead of the 80 and 100 I can see here. Same with transport. I take this, divide it by this, that gives me 5.4. I can see that the range is from 5 to about 6, so 5.4, yeah, that's an average. I can do the same for profit. Take the profit, divide it by the quantity, and that gives you 49.6. Of course, this will give you the exact same thing, but just to be complete, that gives you 49. All right, so that's a very simple example of how to write formulas and also how to combine formulas into a to group formulas to apply BODMAS so that it takes the number, subtracts before it then multiplies. So in the next class, we'll go over working with percentages. There is an example here for you to try on your own. Here you have quantity, you have unit price, you have unit cost, you have unit transport, and you also have unit commission. So see if you can try to solve this on your own and just try to reproduce what we've done here. So thank you for watching this video and see you in the next class.